Hey, and welcome to I Swear on My Mother's Grave. My name is Dana Black, and I'm glad you press play. I'm glad you're here. So someone recently said this about the podcast, and I wanted to read it because, sure, great. Yeah, it feels great to have nice things said about your show. But it also feels spot on. And instead of me always telling you what the show's about or how you might feel, I thought I would just share what someone else said. This person said, "You might expect a podcast about death and loss to be sad and morbid, but that is not this podcast. You might expect a public therapy session, but that is not quite what's going on here either. Dana's curious about humans, curious about parent-child relationships, and curious about how we navigate major and minor life events. Every time I listen, I find myself thinking about my parents, my grandparents, and so many others who I've lost, but who have shaped me. And I think it's a really good thing to think about those people." So yeah, thanks to whoever wrote that, wink, wink. But thank you. Just a beautiful description, and I really wanted to share it with all of you. So thanks for being here, and welcome to my first ever episode with siblings. I'm so excited. Maybe because I'm an only child. I don't know. But I am talking to two amazing siblings, Billy and Evelyn, and I love these two people. I knew Billy when he lived in Chicago many years ago. We lived in the same apartment building. Shout out Clarendon, Reside on Living. If you know Chicago, you know this company. But we lived in the same apartment building, but we met at the coffee shop next door. We became true friends one night around 2007 while we were drinking on the rooftop of our building. That night, Billy told me about the death of his mother, a woman who was not his biological mother, but who he called Mom regardless, because she was just Mom, and she came into his life at a very young age. On this rooftop night, I had not lost my mother yet. It would be about 9 years before I would understand that type of loss, the finality of it. But I held space for Billy on the roof. I poured him another drink and asked questions and listened, and knew in my heart that I would never understand his loss, not in the same way. Billy and his sister Evelyn are half-siblings, and they grew up in Texas. Their mother was raised a missionary kid, became a beloved math teacher, loved to travel, and had a cackle that could cut through the room. She also birthed a mini version of herself in her daughter Evelyn, and was taken from this life way too soon, and eclipsed way too often during her lifetime and beyond. This is Billy and Evelyn. So, I'm going to lead with this. A couple things. I'm nervous.
Oh.
So I'm going to say that.
Okay.
I'm just going to say that I'm nervous for this.
Yeah.
You're my first sibling show. I just wanted you to know that.
Okay.
Okay.
Ever.
Okay.
Oh boy.
I'm nervous for that, but I'm nervous about like the heaviness, right?
Right. Yep.
I don't want to surprise the listener, but also there's something about, I don't know if we even need to get there yet. I'd love to start and just, I don't know anything about your mom. And it's your stepmom, am I correct? So I'm clear, Billy?
Yeah.
Yeah. Billy's stepmom. Yeah.
And your biological mom. And we can get to this, yeah?
Yeah, but I never called her stepmom.
Got it. She was a mom,
She
too.
was mom.
Yeah.
She was mom because I met her when I was 4.
Oh, wow.
Then they got married when I was 5.
Okay.
And then Evelyn came along and
Ruined everything.
Ruined
everything.
Could it be worth, Billy, you talking about Yeah, like your sort of early years and meeting mom and taking her on as mom, and then, I don't know, like your experience with her as your mom.
Yeah, I can do that.
What if you were like, no? No.
I know, I'd be like, no, what the fuck? Get over it. Just do it. It's a good fucking idea. What's your problem? Oh my God.
What's your problem?
So much love.
But remember, we're already doing it. This show is about joy. This show is about vulnerability. It's about laughing. It's about all the things. So you say, this is a place to say, you can say whatever you want.
Yeah,
so
I know. We can always give you too much information.
Oh, yeah.
We're just trying to be...
Yeah. I'm good with that, is what I'm...
We're just
come as you are.
I mean, Dad got custody of me in the 70s, which A, was unheard of. B, I have to frame this in that a whole bunch of knowledge I've gotten after the death of Mom, and Mom being Helen, the mom we shared. So that's unfortunate. I would have to say that one of the things that's come out of the incident is that my sister and I promised each other no family secrets, no tucking away information, because we discovered things after and it was like, come on. Why? So anywho, he was a teacher at Skyline High School. He taught architectural drafting, and a person moved next door to him.
Where'd you grow up?
Dallas. Grew up in Garland, but he taught in Dallas, DISD. And a teacher that taught math moved in next door to him, and that was Helen. And they had a door that opened between them, and they would eat lunch at the same time and have conversations on the daily. Our mom was a missionary kid. Her parents were missionaries in Guatemala for decades.
So she spoke Spanish.
Yeah, totally. She lived in Guatemala up until she was... Wow.
That's all. I spoke a lot of French. I don't know why I took French. That's the point of that. Yeah.
I don't know. French is pretty sexy. Yeah.
Because cussing in French is like wiping your ass with silk. That's why.
Yes. But in no restaurant I've ever worked is it like, oh, my French is coming in handy. You know what I mean? No, it doesn't.
No.
Yeah.
So Dad was not a missionary kid and had been married and divorced and had this kid. And so he really didn't think that he had a chance at a relationship with her. But I mean, as time went on, like feelings were mutual. And then she went to teach in Guatemala for a while. And so I remember hearing about this person and knowing that whenever Dad talked about her or wrote her, like he was happy.
And how old were you again?
Man, I guess I was like 4 at this time.
You might have been 3 when they actually started dating. Yeah.
What did he think about her missionary work, your dad?
He was fine with it. I mean, but...
Yeah. No, he was fine with it because he was a new Christian at the time. So after Billy's bio mom, Kathy, left and they did the divorce and everything, Dad was like in a real down place in his life. For a long time, we didn't know it was because that was the end of his 4th marriage. We didn't know that. We didn't learn that. We learned that. I was 20-something when I learned that. But anyway, so he was like, marriage never works. I'm always getting married and losing marriages. Now I have a kid. My 4th wife has left me. And so he became a Christian through the efforts and I think genuine love and care of some friends that he had, right?
Yeah.
So he became a Christian. He had this big conversion experience and he felt like, now I'm on the road, the path, the right way.
And love will find me the right way and commitment.
And here comes Mom. And oh my gosh, she's a former missionary kid. Are you kidding? She has got Christianity like on lockdown. Like she knows how to do all that. So I think he was fine with it, but also found it intimidating because Mom was intimidating. She was also super pretty and
how was she beautiful? Physically, her smile, her personality,
all.
Yeah.
Picture 1970s polyester
hair
suit, long straight blonde hair.
Yeah, except sometimes it was wavy and big.
Yeah, except sometimes it was wavy and big. Yeah.
And she'd never been married, Helen.
No.
Had never. Okay.
She had given up on that.
She had given up because she was in her 30s.
Oh, she says it's never going to happen for me.
It's never happening.
An old maid. I'll go to Guatemala and give my love to God.
To God, yes. And these orphan children or whoever
and
they
these
were.
orphan children, exactly,
I don't think they were actually orphans, but...
No, they were...
Yeah. But it wasn't like, she wasn't Catholic, so it wasn't a nunnery. Yeah.
But this was the 70s, and so if you weren't married by a particular time, it was like, what up?
Yeah. Especially sort of in her conservative, very Christian community. That
she
everyone
grew up in Texas?
No. So she grew up in between Guatemala, El Salvador, but then she came to North Carolina as a young teenager to go to missionary kid boarding school.
Okay.
Because that's what they did.
And she did that through high school. Then she moved to Texas and attended
North Texas
State for college. And she did all that on her own. So she was very independent.
Had a 65 Mustang, stick shift, white leather interior.
Yeah.
Ooh.
She loved that car.
I love that car.
I love that car.
So, Billy, so you're young. You're like 4 years old. She's in Guatemala. Yeah. Your dad's in love. He's writing letters, I'm assuming, or whatever.
She comes back.
Okay.
She comes back, and she's teaching at Skyline as well. And then they have a date that I get to go to. And that's when I first met her. And she fixed dinner for us at her apartment. Fun fact, Ev, I tried to put as much gross broccoli in my mouth and sneak it to the bathroom so I could flush it down the toilet and got caught.
By her?
By Dad. And Dad was gonna spank me there and then. And she was like, no, please don't do that. And I was like, I like this, Mom.
I like her.
Yeah. I love that you're on their like first official date too, you know? And she still is like, yeah, I'll go for this. I'll go for this guy. Yeah.
Well, to be fair, I was freaking cute.
Long blonde hair.
Listen, I'm convinced, Billy, that Mom got together with Dad because of you.
Yeah.
Because Billy was so cute. He was the cutest thing you've ever seen. And here was a child, and I think Mom's heart, like her mother heart, was like, here's a little boy who doesn't have a present mom. And so she was like, heart eyes.
Yeah, I was bait. I was also the ring bearer, so there we go. They got married when I was 5.
Okay. And you were in the wedding.
I was in the wedding. Grandma made sure I was closing my eyes while praying, but neither was she. So there's that.
Is this your dad's mom or your mom's mom?
My dad's mom.
Mom.
Grandma O'Neill, German.
Oh.
They got married when I was 5. And so there were things that I learned later on that made sense. But basically, so she came into our lives and it was amazing. And, you know, she had the Guatemalan background. Her parents had retired and they lived in Dallas. So that was another thing. My grandparents on my dad's side lived an hour away and we went there for everything, but they were an hour away. Mom's parents were in Dallas. And so I went there quite a lot. And they were two of the most hilarious, loving, non-standard Christians that I knew. They could joke about things that I was just like, oh my gosh, that would never happen in our church, but they went to our church. It was nice. Missionaries are a different breed of people, and that was very lovely. What Mom did practically is I think she took every credit card away from Dad and got him out of debt. And so Dad was not in a great place in that respect. And Mom and I would sit at the kitchen counter. I would sit at the kitchen counter and Mom would plan the week out for food, for meals. And she would let me help decide, you know, when do you want mushrooms and spaghetti? And it's like, well, every day. Well, no, they have to be different. And then she would calculate and we'd have a little bet going to the grocery store how much it would cost, and she'd have it down to pennies. And that was just something that was desperately needed. We needed some freaking structure. Yeah. Mom is the reason why I ended up being a classical pianist. Mom's the reason why I didn't feel any shame in backing out of trying out for percussion and ended up with the oboe. What's an oboe? I don't fucking know. But I'm going to try out for it. Because
she supported you? Because she pushed you? Because she said, no, let's try it. What?
No, because she was game. That was part of her background. Was she was adventurous at her core. To be frank, like Dad in a lot of areas was just this rigid structure that just dark. My biological mom was not that at all. And I've got a lot of those fucking brain cells. And so it took having the existence of another person, at least semi-understanding some of me. And that was great. So like with the oboe thing, like you had to go to the middle school. She was the one that went with me to the middle school for that audition. I was very shy until high school. And I looked back and there were like 13 people trying out for drums. I'm like, no. So I like looked on the chart and the band director said, here's what I have, here's what I need. And it was like, oh, but I've got one and I need one. I'm like, what's that? But again, she was like, do it.
Did she play an instrument?
She played piano.
Piano, got it. Oh, a classically trained pianist. Yeah, you said she had been trained in
She had
piano.
been trained, and then I got
yeah.
trained. I took piano for probably 20 years and all that jazz. She is also the one that forced me to go on my second tour with, or was it the first?
I mean, it was both. But the second time, you needed, I think, a special push. And she, I think, wrote out
She just wrote go.
I think on a piece of paper, she was like, here's a sign.
Yeah.
Get it?
Go.
Here's a sign. Go.
Here's a sign.
Yeah,
Go.
Here's a sign. Go. And she like stuck it in your room or
put it on my board.
Yeah, on your board.
Oh.
And this was with a group called the Continental Singers.
Don't look it up. Don't do it.
People who grew up in a
Googling
similar
right
conservative evangelical circle as we did will possibly know what that was. But at any rate, I'm still glad you did that because that
absolutely
you traveled.
And then that put me on the second tour.
Yeah.
Going to Chicago for school. Again, she
School,
was
not so great, but
settle.
school was a challenge for our friend here. I just have to give him a little shit. Sibling time.
Sibling time.
Sibling time.
Oh gosh.
Well, when were you born? Was he already gone at school?
No.
No.
Yes. I'm about 20
like,
years
wait a
younger than
second.
him. Thank you, Dana. Thank you for noticing my skincare regimen.
I was like, wait a second. Like, come on, someone help me here.
So I prayed for this one.
You did. He's sorry. He's so sorry.
For real. You really did? You asked?
Yeah, really.
You asked for a sibling.
I wanted a sister with blonde hair and blue eyes who was funny. Guess what
Worked
the fuck
out.
I got?
It may.
Does she not have blue eyes? Because
I do.
She's
I do.
all
Yeah.
those things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Well,
You're
and
welcome.
on top of that,
So how
Thank
old were
you.
you when she was born?
He was 7.
Oh, yeah.
and she was going to be, they were prepping me. They were so sad because during the pregnancy and up until the day she was born, they were like, it's a boy, Billy. It's a boy. And I'm like, nope. I prayed for this. I'm not going to have to share my toys because that was the other thing. I didn't want to share my toys.
Because we were very gendered at the time in the 1970s, friends.
Yeah.
Very gendered.
Yeah, very gendered.
Yeah. But yeah, I didn't want a brother. I wanted a sister. It's a girl.
Did she really want a child?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
yes.
Good Lord.
Yes.
Yes.
She did. She wanted more than just the two of us, I believe.
Yeah, she did.
But Dad was like, no, we're done. Dana, she did natural childbirth. In a time when everybody was getting, a lot of people were getting put under, right? Just to quietly deliver the baby. She wanted.
Did she do it at home or?
No, she was
in
at the hospital.
But not.
Was at the hospital.
Couldn't do drugs.
No drugs.
No.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then she breastfed when that was still also something for the super crunchy hippie people. And she was not crunchy hippie, but she just felt really strongly about that. And other people would not have made that choice. So she was really, I don't know. I feel like she was pretty intuitive in that way where she trusted, like she knew things that she wanted to try and she stuck to her guns if she wanted something. You know what I mean?
Yes.
If it was important to her.
Was her mom like that?
Her mom was...
Oh, grandmother?
Grandmother was spunky, man.
Was her mother.
Can I tell
her
a
name
side
is just
story?
grandmother? I love that it's just...
Yeah.
Yes, please.
That's what we called it. Side story about grandmother. This was Olive. Olive is Helen's mom. Okay, so grandmother, she and grandpa went back to Guatemala. They were in their 60s, probably 60s or 70s.
Knows?
Actually, it's entirely possible they were even 80 something, but they were older. Think of that. They were older. They went back, I think, for a visit because they had been retired at that point. And they're driving down the road and they get carjacked. And grandmother's like, all right, this cash is going in my bra. And so she like shoves all the cash.
Wait, they had like a gun?
Yeah.
Like what?
Yes,
like...
they stopped the car. They like, it was, yeah. And so she was like, I'm going to put this cash in my bra. And she shoves it down in her bra, and the car is taken, and grandmother and grandpa are there on the side of the road, but she saved their money.
All the money.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
She's, no way, they're not getting away with this.
Yeah, she's like, what would Jesus do?
What
He
would Jesus
stick the money right in the bra.
In the bra.
You know?
Right in the bra. That's what are bras for. What are bras for? Yeah, so
What
that's
are bras for?
grandmother.
That's the kind of family she was raised around.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
And brave. I mean, that's a brave thing.
Yeah,
it's a risky, but it's brave and it's spunky.
Spunky, super smart, whip smart lady. And I'd say extremely brave. And also think about, they're going out into the back jungles of Guatemala at a time when they didn't know what was out there, you know.
Cell phones, you know.
Right?
Right.
No.
Or, an Airbnb in Guatemala I can stay at.
And then she's having...
Yeah, you were really disconnected.
And here she's having 4 children, and grandmother was the quiet one of the 2 in the relationship. So grandpa was boisterous, loud.
Gregarious, had pen pals across
everywhere.
The planet.
He always had a joke to tell, right? And grandmother was quiet and serious, but she was so fun when you got to know her. She was just the funnest person ever. And she and I were really close. I really loved hanging out with grandmother. And mom was very much like her. And so, like, you could immediately on the surface say, oh, Helen's very responsible and she's very serious and she is conscientious and always does the right thing. And you would be missing out on her, like, boisterous laugh. Yeah, her adventurous side. She loved to travel and she traveled by herself. She loved that more than anything. She would drive herself places in her car that she loved. I think she just sometimes needed a little permission or the security and safety of people who knew her in order to open up. And I know that she wanted to encourage both Billy and I in seeking wherever we wanted to go.
Yeah.
But she was also really good at structure. Like Billy's saying, she gave them sort of the stability that it's weird, Dana, because talking about it, it's Dad needed that structure. And yet at the same time, we're also describing Dad as the most rigid. Yeah. And
that's not...
It's not
totally
quite right. He was like rigid in that, in a sort of a military way, maybe, is what I'm thinking. So he gets up every day at the same time. Always had the same thing for breakfast. He always took a bike ride at X time. He was very good at training, right? He was really good at sport.
He taught systems, or he taught like this drafting, right? And like there's a...
Yes, there's a way.
There's a way to do it.
There's a way.
Yeah. What was their marriage like? Can you give an overview of how it started, maybe how, or growing up, you observe, what was it like?
I thought it was good.
When it was good.
I thought it was good.
We both thought it was good.
Billy, you have a story from when, I don't know how old you were, but when Dad, I think he inappropriately said something to you about if it wasn't for X, possibly me, I would go or I would leave her or something. I don't know. When was that?
Just a casual comment.
Just a casual comment to your child.
This is back to the whole secrets in the fucking family shit.
Dumb. Secrets are dumb, friends. Don't do it.
Yeah. Let me just say that it shouldn't take the death of an individual for children to have conversations with long-lost relatives in order to start finding out the truth.
Say that again. Can you say that again? I'm going to Brene Brown you. It's what it's called. When I say it again, what you said.
It should not take the death of a parent for children to find out from long-lost relatives the truth about certain situations. Correct. It should not.
I understand age-appropriate.
And you don't just mean finances, and you don't just mean...
No, we mean family shit.
Right. So Dad decided that when his children turned 20, they can learn the truth, which a part of it was true, but it wasn't the whole truth at all. So I'm 20, and he's like, hey, I need to talk to you. Let's go in the backyard, which sucked for me because at some point in my life, I decided, whatever. I had one life at home, one life at church, and one life at school. And by life, I mean personality and known information, etc. I was a different person in each of these scenarios.
School again?
And
you were out of high school. Sorry. Yeah. Richland.
It's South Carolina High School and Richland Community College, home of the Thunder Ducks.
In Texas.
In Texas.
In Texas.
Dallas area. Dallas metro area.
Yeah. And I had those facades significantly boundaried. And so when either one of my parents would say, oh, we need to have a talk, I'm like, fuck, what I forget? What detail did I miss this time? So he takes me out back and he's like, listen, you've grown up with Kathy was my first wife. I'm like, uh-huh. He's like, false. Cool. Okay. So she was number 2. No. She was number 4. And Helen is number 5. And I stay with Helen because of Evelyn.
Every time I hear this, it blows my mind. It just makes me sad.
That's
good.
Yeah.
So you're 20, and at this point, you're 13.
I'm 20.
I would be 13.
And please understand.
Yeah,
Ev was 13. I'm 20. I hadn't traveled yet. I hadn't seen the world yet. I was still very, good Lord. I didn't really pull my head fully out of my ass till I was 34, 30.
I would say later, but, and I'm not trying to be mean.
36. I know. 37.
Yeah.
37.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
38. I was a real space cadet. I wasn't very context aware about the world around me. I had no street values. So there wasn't really much that I could say about that back to my dad at the time, except, okay.
Thanks for telling me. What?
Who? Do I have other siblings? Right. No. And
did he say why he wanted to leave Helen? Did he say why? Did he say there's no love here?
If he did, I don't remember it. But what I knew at the time, I mean, Dad went to work to teach and Mom had her home office, and then they came home and then they made decent roommates.
No physical touching. You didn't see a lot of hugging or...
No, they did. They did. But there was definitely... So it wasn't until later that Mom had to work through the stuff from her past.
What was that? What are you referencing?
Where she had the separation stuff from when she had to go to boarding school.
No, Billy, I think she was dealing with that her whole entire life, and I don't think she ever named it. Oh, no.
Never,
this is if you've heard of it, it's me diagnosing her with attachment disorder. Yeah.
Oh, true.
Seriously.
But they put her in boarding school, and she dealt with
at
that.
The age of 4, this is how missionaries did it at the time in the 1930s and 40s. And 50s, yeah. 50s. So she stayed with her parents until age 4. And then starting around 4 or 5, you got shipped off for 9 months out of the year to a missionary kid boarding school. So it was 4 other missionary kids. And you were there and you were without your parents all of a sudden. Maybe your siblings, if you had any, were there, and hers were there. But you think about how little you are, and it just was, to me, it feels like a recipe for raising disordered children.
Yeah.
And then...
So interesting, too. You leave your child
to go help other... I know. Right? I know.
That's fascinating.
It's weird.
That's fascinating to me.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah.
There's this weird mentality of the time.
And so... throughout the year, they were assigned, the kids were assigned every week. You have to write your parents at home. And so they would get letters back and forth, but you're not seeing your parents. There's no FaceTime. There's nothing. And then you go back to them at the end of the school year. You leave the school and you go back to your parents for the summer. And who are these people? And all of a sudden she's being disciplined. So then you deal with your parents for 3 months. And then by the end of that, you can't wait to go back to school, and you do that. That was her life. 4 through 11, and then put away, sent to the United States at the age of 12, 13, something like that, I think.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Yeah. And so I think her independence streak came from the fact that she had to be, but I think she deeply desired intimacy.
Did she have close friendships?
Yeah, she did. She had a couple of close friendships that I knew of, but she was very loyal to her husband.
Yeah.
And so none of her girlfriends ever knew of any unhappiness that she might have had or harbored on her own.
Or financial shame.
Or difficulty. Yeah. I was going to speak about mom and dad's news. May I do that? Dad's former spouses.
Oh,
yeah. Okay.
Yes, please.
Okay. So Billy learned about mom's predecessors.
At 20.
When he was 20.
Yes, at 20 years old.
And so you might be wondering, how does Helen, a former missionary kid and all around responsible and all of this, all the attributes that she had, how does she decide, yeah, I'm going to marry this dude who has been married 4 times before? How does she do that? Well, the answer is she doesn't know that he's been married 4 times before. She believes, like everyone, that
just
Billy's,
Kathy.
Yeah, it was just Kathy. And then she finds out after they've been married for a year or 2, something like that. I want to say it was about a year or so.
Yeah.
And they were at a family function. And did Aunt Ida say something?
And Ida went, introduced, said, Helen, I have someone I need to introduce you to. And mom came over and Ida's like, this is such and such. This is
Billy's second wife.
Because that was the trick, is that mom was like,
right. I was the second wife.
Your dad didn't know at a barbecue or a function
this
in
might
town
come up.
That this might happen?
I think he just really hoped it wouldn't.
It's not like, these women were in different states. He was just hoping it wouldn't come up. That
really
nobody would tell.
Yeah. Sure thing. Who knows?
I don't know.
We don't ask that question.
I don't know. Wow. Wish I could learn that.
So she found out 2 years in.
A couple years in. And then Dana.
And do you know how she responded to that?
I think she was devastated. I personally think she was absolutely devastated.
Absolutely.
And then she was stuck. Because guess who doesn't believe in divorce? Helen. Yeah. And Helen's whole family.
And a lot of and some
most
Christians.
Many Christians do. Right?
Right.
So then what is there for her to do? She has to stay here with this man who omitted some crucial information.
What else is he hiding? Then you're like, what else is he hiding? What else is he not telling me? Yeah.
I think she was devastated about that for the rest of her life. I personally don't think she ever recovered from it. And
no, she had to find a space for that.
It was really distressing when I found out, because I was watching mom as dad, she was sort of making dad tell me all of this. And I was watching her and I was like, mom is not okay.
No.
Yeah, I found.
When was that?
I was 21. And so you'll see that dad did not follow protocol and tell me on his own. And it was an accident.
And you didn't go tell your sister. Hold on, but then you didn't tell your sister, Billy, because you obviously learned many years before.
He wasn't supposed to.
No,
it wasn't your story to tell.
Really, I was gonna tell my adorable. Look, listen,
I know. I'm not saying it. Yeah, I'm just fascinated.
I'm a shit case compared to my sister.
Yeah.
So my sister was the golden child,
and 13.
This adorable, blonde-haired, blue-eyed, talented kid that I was just like, anybody touches that, I will fuck you up.
I'm not going to taint this story.
So I'm not going to do, I'm not going to lay that on.
Well, and also that's taking your dad, it's your dad's job. So if you take that away, like it's his responsibility, or in theory, or
both of them, or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was 21.
So you were 21.
I was 21 and I was home on a break from college. And dad was going through some old photos, which I love old photos. I love old.
Same.
I just give me all the old photos and give me the stories.
The black and white. Right?
Oh,
the little ones. You're
I know.
Like,
What's this?
And you turn them over and there's words on them. And you're like, what do they mean? And who is this person?
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
So I sat down.
My mom has commentary sometimes, like
it's really dangerous in our family.
Yeah,
they used to
that's true.
Yeah, no, my mom has opinions about the person. I'm like, why is there like sass on the back of these pictures?
Yes, Dana.
Sometimes it's, she has an opinion about this person. Yeah,
that's delightful. We just usually get names, if that, on the back. I love your mom's.
Yeah, sometimes I get.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
I get tone.
That's delightful.
In the later years. Yeah.
I sit down with him because I love looking at pictures. And so I'm going through them. And some of them were from his time in the military. So he was actually part of the Korean War. He served in Korea. And I pick up a photo and it's him like in his military uniform, whatever that was. Well, was he what? Army? He was just Army. He was just an Army guy.
Army.
So he's in his uniform and his left hand is resting on the back of a chair. It's like a portrait, if that makes sense. So he's standing behind a chair and his left hand is resting there and he's looking at the camera. And on his ring finger is a band. A band.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Korean War. No, this is 1950 something. Wait a minute. Billy was born in 1970. When did he marry?
Yeah.
Was he,
does he like jewelry?
What? Is he married to Kathy all that time? What? No, it wouldn't have been because Kathy was so much younger than him. She was 16 or 17 years younger than him. So it literally wouldn't have been possible. Okay. So I was like, Dad, what's this ring that you're wearing on your finger? Because who's curious? Evelyn's curious all the time. I love asking questions. And he was like, oh, he doesn't know what to do. And Mom is walking through the room and she's like, it's about time you told her, Bill. And I was like, what? Okay, what are y'all talking about? What is this? Wow. What is happening right now? And she said, I think we better go to the living room. And I was like, what the fuck? We always got to move somewhere. You can't just sit here and tell
meet me on the porch. Right? Billy was like, come
back.
to the porch. Come to the living room.
We got to go to the living room.
Yeah.
So we adjourn to the living room. And Dad says, okay, it's time I told you that your mom isn't my second wife. So then he confesses this. And y'all, it was like he was confessing to some horrible crime. Is how much shame he was clearly carrying over it. And Mom is sitting there stone-faced. And I think this was an enormous conflict that never got resolved for them, which I can't blame her. Can you imagine that level of betrayal? Like right at the beginning of your marriage. Oh my stars. Yes. Now I'm going to have a kid with this guy. And no, everything's fine. Everything's fine. And you've got no one. Yeah. You've got no one to talk to about it, etc. Anyway, so he tells me blah, 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 4 wives. So I asked the same questions as Billy did. I was like, do I have other siblings that I don't know about? And he said, no other siblings. And I was like, okay, why am I just now learning this? What is wrong with you? He's like, it's just so many divorces and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, that's very bad and whatever sort of nonsense. And I was like, you have nothing to be ashamed of. People get divorced. It didn't work. You're here now. Be here. What's wrong with you? And also, Dad, at our church, we had something called Divorce Care. It was a group for Christians who were going through a divorce, which is very painful, right? Divorce is painful anyway, but for Christians, sometimes I think it's worse because there's so much stigma. And I was like, Dad, you could be teaching at Divorce Care.
In divorce?
You could be showing other people.
You could be a participant or a facilitator.
To show other people that life doesn't end after divorce. Look at what you can do with yourself. And you don't have to be defined by this, all this garbage. And he was like, yeah, thank you very much. And I was like, okay, I don't know what's wrong with y'all. What's wrong with you people?
Because the both of them had already set it up. It'd already been set up in the community.
That Mom was Dad's second wife. They can't go back on that now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So did you have a private conversation with your mom after that, Evelyn, then? Did you ever just speak with your mom or go to brunch, you go to coffee, you go into her bedroom one night and say, talk to me, what's going on? How do you feel about all this? That never happened.
It never happened. Sometimes it was hard to get her to talk about how she really felt about stuff, especially stuff regarding Dad. And one of the last conversations I ever had with her before everything blew up and things ended the way they did is she came up to Nashville to visit me. This was just days before she died. And I wanted to have those real conversations. I think I asked, how are you and Dad doing? And she was like, oh, we're fine. I really want us to travel. She really wanted to take him to Ireland, which was part of his family's heritage and history. And funny enough, Dad, I think he liked travel well enough, but he didn't travel big. He didn't make big plans. And Mom was the go around the world person. Yeah. And so if it was going to happen, she was going to make it happen. And so that was meaningful to her because it was important to Dad. And so she wanted this to happen. And so she talked about, he's training a lot he was training for a particular bike race at the time. And he's just training all the time. And we don't really get to spend a lot of time together. So I'm looking forward to hopefully trying to do that and planning for this trip that she wanted to take them on. And so that's what I got from her and they talked on the phone every night. And lo and behold, Dad's like, yeah, I love you too. He doesn't love her anymore, right? He's boinking somebody else and plotting her demise. I think she was loyal to a fault in that way. And I mean, my guess is it was too painful to deal with her real feelings about it. God.
Do you remember your last, Billy? Do you remember your last moment with her? Or do you remember a last conversation?
I got to give a little context. So I hit a particular age. I think it was 7. And I started, no, maybe it was 12. I don't know. I remember I hit this point at the Sheridan house, Ev, and then it kept going for years. My mom and I had the perfect combo of being oil and water for each other. Sparks and stones. I mean, I could just give us 2 minutes and we could get into an argument and without freaking trying. And I didn't have anybody older and definitely not Dad to try to help me figure out how to open my mouth up better. I love you, Ev.
Well, I love that description though. I mean, yeah, you didn't have anyone equipping you with different tools for communication. And she didn't have that. She was like, but this is how it's not working. And so she would try harder with you, you know?
But I cannot lie. Aside from the wife I have now and the sister you're looking at, Mom was the only other individual who loved me to the degree that I've ever been loved. She fucking made it through my stupid years. And then for a long time, unfortunately, we just had habits, bad habits of addressing each other and bad habits of coming at each other. And it really wasn't until that last year that finally, I distinctly recall I had a conversation with her and I got off the phone. I'm like, oh my God, we didn't fight. And fortunately and unfortunately, that was my last phone call with her. That we had a conversation and it was nice. And
what did it feel like? Did you laugh on the call? Do you remember what you were talking about?
We were able to be kind with each other, and
basic, boring, logistic. Yeah.
Oh, it had to do with the fact that my marriage sucked.
That's your first. Yeah, you were in your first marriage.
Oh, I did that.
So you're on the phone with your mom and you were talking about this, telling her about.
Yeah, because she was like, Mom knew when one of us wasn't happy. She knew when things weren't going great for us. She was very kind in those moments because what she desperately wanted for each of us was to find our path and to be happy. That is as plain and simple as it is. And fortunately or not, I did a lot of things to please my parents late into my life. And I finally felt okay to say, I think I screwed up. And Mom was like, yeah, I'm sorry.
I agree.
Wow. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
yes,
but there wasn't, I don't think she was like, yeah, you dumbass, right? She was like, yeah. So let's get you out. I remember the previous Christmas.
And maybe she couldn't. Yeah.
She
do it for herself.
Yeah,
it just sounds like she's wanting the best for you too, and wanting you to find love, and she couldn't do it for herself.
But the previous Christmas, she very briefly mentioned something about, I think, the possibility of you and Angie not staying together, and she wished that you would do that. Right.
I wasn't. I mean, again, I did not understand my own boundaries until I was 37-ish. Please understand. I've just been on a long space cadet program.
Hey, just popping in here is Dana to talk to you one-on-one. Just us. So I debated about how to approach talking about their mother's death, the big reveal. I wasn't totally sure how to warn you all or tell you ahead of time what was coming without that clouding the entire conversation. I thought about putting it in the show notes or in my intro, but ultimately I wanted you to hear about their gorgeous mother, Helen, without any preconceived notions, without the morbid, sensational, or traumatic story of how she died clouding over the first half of this episode. I just wanted you to get to know Helen and Helen's two awesome, funny, smart, generous, kind kids. I know that trigger and content warnings are important, and so this is yours, mid-episode. This conversation's about to take a turn, and we're going to discuss domestic violence and death. So I want to encourage you to tap out if you need to. Please, take care of you. But I also want you to know that these two children are still going to keep talking about their love for their mother, about what her death has taught them about their own marriages, their own divorces, their romantic partners, about raising kids, and keeping secrets. This conversation is going to take a turn, but Helen still deserves to be honored and known. So, back to our conversation. So we're going to take this turn together.
Yeah.
We're going to all three turn this story together, right?
Yep.
I'm going to let you lead it. I'm interested, though, as we go forward, in how you now as adults, when you have to say the words of how she died. So yours is so weighted and it's so heavy. So then I'm curious how that has changed for you over the years, how you speak about it. And I'll let you guys take this turn for me. And for Helen.
Yeah. I think for me, it's been, well, always been difficult. And I think it's fair to say for many reasons and no reason, it'll be always more difficult for me than it is for Billy. And there's no negative connotation. There's no judgment in that statement. It just is, right?
Yep.
So
you guys were so much closer. You guys had the ability to be closer.
We did. We communicated the same way.
Yeah, and you traveled together, and
I am her mini-me. I mean, I really am in many ways. Yeah.
Yeah.
So in the early days, I almost couldn't speak it. And if I had to, it was devastating and very stressful. Like I feel it here in my chest come up. And now when
right now,
some right now thinking about especially how it used to feel. And it's just like, you take a deep breath, right?
Would you just say she died?
Yes. A lot of times,
would
actually,
you just say
I
she
still
died?
say that. Yeah. I still say that.
It depends on context.
Depends on the context.
Yeah. Who you're talking
to. Exactly. But a coworker a couple years back, I've been at my current job for about 3 years. And so a couple years back, it came up enough that I felt like I could introduce this topic to him. And I was like, hey, just so you know, quite a few years ago, my dad actually murdered my mom. And he was like, whoa, what? And I said, yes. Yeah. My dad murdered my mother. They were still married. And he was like, hold up, Ev, can I ask questions? I was like, yeah, you can totally ask questions. And I said, I don't mind talking about it. But I also, I really don't mind talking about it if I know or feel reasonably sure that the person I'm talking to is also going to be able to hold it with me. You know, I'm not interested in.
I can't. Yeah.
I think you probably feel this though too, Dana, right?
There's so much pity that comes at you when you say your mom has died anyway. So then you have people who are uncomfortable and they don't know what to say.
Right.
And I remember the day that Billy told me what you just said. I also, and my mom was still alive, I didn't know how to respond besides saying, I have so many questions. Am I allowed to have them? Yeah. And yet the weight of what I'm being told feels so much heavier than just a normal death. Right. And then you're like sad for his dad, like, or you're losing a father. So there's all this stuff.
It's a lot.
Oh my God. Yeah, it's just so much.
It's a lot.
You're right. Yeah. And then you have to be like, do these people have the space to hold?
Right.
Yeah. Drinking on a rooftop. And I was like, tell me more about your mom. What?
It was our first big long conversation was on the rooftop.
It's like 10 years ago, 12 years ago.
Wow.
Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but
this is a conversation. Yeah.
I can imagine that people don't know how to hold. They don't know how to hold that space. That's very hard.
It is very hard.
Let's give them the grace too to know like that is hard.
You have to be prepared to walk them through it, if that makes sense. And I don't I think it's because I want to show people that it's okay to talk about this and that shitty and it's sort of mind-blowing a little bit. And I know that I'm about to lead them into something that is really awful and not fun. But if you want to know me, you need to know this thing about me.
Yeah.
You need to have context for things that I say or why I don't like when people joke about murdering someone, why I don't like jokes about guns or gun violence, or why I don't like people to say, oh, just kill me now if I'm still here in 20 years. I'm like, you motherfucker.
Oh my God.
How
and
dare
our
you?
obsession with real crime, with how the sensationalism around real life stories about crime and murdering women.
Yes, so, all of these things. So so now I just try to keep it simple.
Are you resentful that this is part of your identity? So then are you resentful that it is a part of your identity, that you said, if you want to know me, you now have to know this part of me?
Yeah, no. I'm not. I probably used to be, but I had to.
Yeah, I might have gone through that phase.
I probably did, but I mean, and it's not fair. Like, I can tell you right now, no, this is really shitty and it's not fair. And there are definitely days where I'm like, God damn it, I really wish this was not my story, our story, any of us related to this. Also, I just wish, like, she didn't even make it to 60, y'all. That's not fair. She was like a vital, healthy woman. So it's just not, it's not fair. 59, and he robbed her a month before her 60th birthday of getting to see that.
The more you learn about the context, I get angry again, because it's like, they were married for 27 years. He had been married and divorced before. Like, dude, like, that was my sister. And that was Ev and I's first question. What the fuck? Why not another divorce? Why this direction? Because, and bless the soul. Thing is, Ev, do you remember she had broken her wrist?
I do.
And she had it healed and had just had that taken off. And then a week or two later, she broke the other one exactly the same way.
I do remember. It was awful.
And this is right before the whole mess. And I'm like, dude, like, that's what I was like getting mad at God. I'm like, if you're going to break bones, like, fucking break mine. I'm the dumbass. Stop hurting this nice lady over here who has managed to this day, again, she never stopped loving me and never stopped trying to meet me on that level of acceptance and love.
She never gave up on wanting y'all to have a more congenial relationship. She wanted that. She was always going to go after you in that way.
And it's so, dude, you decided to like just rip the life from this person who was she was teaching Spanish at
elementary school. Yeah.
At elementary school. And kids, of course, the kids loved her because she's a freaking good teacher.
She's patient.
He was seeing someone else
for like a month, Dana.
It wasn't like, I'm leaving this person, I'm going to go be with this person. That wasn't the story.
He hoped. He held out hope that they could then really pursue their relationship if Helen was out of the picture. And if he got divorced, the answer to why he couldn't get another divorce, Billy, is because he would be the bad guy. So if he was doing the divorcing, the leaving, then the whole community that they were part of would shun him, because they were still he was an elder at the church, not at the time, but he had been. They were very involved in their church. And they had their friend groups and everything there. So what was he supposed to do? Like, have everybody break up with him because he wanted to divorce mom? No. However, if he's the widower, where does all the sympathy go? It goes to him. And then he's free to date whoever he wants to.
Yeah. And he believes he would get away with it, or that.
Yeah. Let me just.
No one would ever know.
I'm going to mute my mic and have a primal scream. One moment.
So. So it just
is so infuriating. It's so infuriating to think about. And here's this woman who, to me, the very week that he killed her, said, I just want us to spend more time together. I can't wait till we get to go to Ireland.
Yeah.
Motherfucker. What? There's just no words. And I am so sad that she was stuck in a marriage where she was not wanted for who she was, because I think that's where it got to. First of all, that she was deceived into marrying him. And then that the man she was with apparently just like, A, couldn't keep his dick in his pants, but B, did not see her and treasure her for who she was. And who she was amazing. Nobody's perfect. None of us are claiming that, but she was an incredible human.
So who called you to?
Ugh.
Yeah, who called you, Billy?
A cop? I don't understand how this...
Oh, fuck. Dad called you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome.
I thought it was a complication. He said something's happened with mom.
Yep.
And I thought it was a complication because remember she had so many drugs for the...
Yep. The wrist breaking.
Her breaking her wrist.
And he called me and said, something's happened with mom. You need to get home. And he wouldn't tell me what.
After that conversation, I have a knowing that happens sometimes. And for me, it's spiritual and it is connected to my spiritual life. Of course, that's shifted in how I experience that. But I had a knowing that mom had died. And I just asked, I said, okay, if she died, I just need to know that she knew that she was loved as she died. And then I, of course, had no idea that it was her, the person she trusted most in the world and had handed her life over to, right? Who did the killing. She looked at him when he killed her, right? She must have seen him. So he came at her and shot her in the chest and in the head. And so I choose to believe that she received other communication at that time that ushered her out of this life.
Like what?
I think she would have thought of her kids. And I think she would have received comfort from her God, from Christ. That's what I have to believe, because otherwise it's too difficult, right? You look at your spouse, the person that, for fuck's sake, you're planning to go to Ireland with. You have supported their endeavors in every possible way. Their hobby takes them away from you. Hobby was cycling. Takes them away from you, and you support it. And you are like, yes, if you want to train for this ride, you do that every moment you need to. Everything that Dad did, she supported. And all she wanted was intimacy and to be known and seen and loved for who she was. He couldn't give that to her. And now he's standing there and he's got a gun and he's going to kill her. I start to feel very stabby about it.
There's a lot of angry disappointment because I would have to say, and I'm sorry, I'm not trying to interject or butt in.
Oh, please. Please go ahead.
I would have to say the most disappointing thing is that as time has gone on and we have been living our lives, is that there are consistent moments in time where we're like, we wish we could share this.
Yeah.
With her. Because I have nothing to share with my dad except lots of bad things and fire and gas.
Yeah.
I'm with the woman now that she's, aside from two other individuals, she's the only other female that came to our house, and mom loved her.
This is true.
Because she was going on a trip to Papua New Guinea to do what mom had done in Huehuetenango in Guatemala. Mom loved her.
I love that mom got the chance to meet Steph years and years ago when you guys...
Years ago, my brain was like, hold on, because you knew each other before.
Briefly.
So they dated in the past.
And Steph came over to the house. She saw our weird family dynamics in action.
Billy's current wife.
Billy's current wife.
Yeah.
They dated.
We married after the death of his mom, but they dated years ago.
Yeah,
so way long. Rekindled.
Yeah, we dated 30 years ago and kept in touch. And then we went on different life paths and reconnected 6 years ago. And then, so I think one of the things is that I enjoy is that I can turn to Steph and be like, you met my mom. You know who I'm talking about when I say, I met this person. But again, there have just been things that I've been able to accomplish. Mom loved technology. She was a camouflaged little geek. If you wanted to see joy in this person's face, you bought her a gadget that she didn't need.
But that was new and magical in some way.
It was new and magical, and she didn't care. It was fantastic.
She'd play with it and figure it out.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, when I built my first website, like I called her and I had her get online. She was like, this is the neatest thing ever. And she had that child wonder about her with any like gadgets and stuff.
And for me.
Yeah. And your child like was not born, right? When she was not born yet.
That's my biggest disappointment.
So she's never met her.
Yeah. He was born in. He was born in 2008. And
this happened in 2004.
This was in 2004 when she.
So legacy, Billy, is raising 3 stepkids.
Four stepkids.
Four.
3 girls and a boy.
Stepkids. Evelyn has a son, and your son never met your mom. Your stepkids have never met your mom.
No.
So how do you then talk about this horrible, horrific act while still honoring and talking? How do you talk about your mom's life, and how do you talk about your mom's death? And do it in 4 minutes. I'm kidding, but like, how do you do that? How do you?
I'm really glad you asked that.
No, but it's a big question.
I can go, Billy. I have a meandering answer if you don't mind. Okay.
I don't mind.
Okay, I don't know. The answer is I don't know. Wondering. I actually am. Yeah. So when Isaac was very small, I was still in relationship with our dad, and I took Isaac to the prison to meet his grandfather.
Right.
Yeah, I know. I have so many thoughts and feelings about that.
All right.
Not regrets exactly, but I just wish I hadn't tried so hard.
Yeah.
But it was what I needed to do at the time. It's what I needed to do. And as I continued to try and forge a relationship between my father and my son, and it was clear that I was doing all the work, I was like, why is this happening? I just had really wanted my child to have a grandparent on my side.
Why was that important to you at the time? Why did you think that was important?
Because I had grandparents, and I loved
on both sides.
On both sides, and I really loved my relationship with my mom's parents, especially. My dad's parents passed when I was still on the younger side. Yeah, I didn't have as much solid memories with them, but I just at that time in my life, it was too hard to face losing both of my parents. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to put the fact that dad killed mom, I'm going to put that in this little box right here. And I'm just going to put that over here. I'm going to put that away. Yep, we're going to need to shove that a little further away. Oh, it needs to go in the attic. But that's okay. That's okay. We can do that. It can just be up in the attic, and I can have a relationship with dad, and I'll still have a parent. And my child will have a grandparent. And this is, you know what? This is fine. This is fine. And then it wasn't fine. It wasn't fine. I experienced massive depression and anxiety, and just expended so much energy towards dad. And mom got lost in the mix, right? Which is, again, why we're trying to focus today on mom, and because she always gets eclipsed, right?
Yeah.
Because of what dad did and the fallout afterward. And so anyway, I tried with my child and my father for a while. And then that finally became clear that I needed to stop doing that, and we needed to break up with dad. So several years ago, finally, successfully, fully broke up with dad. And now, as Isaac has grown, there have been moments where maybe he's asked a question or wondered about, why do I have grandparents with my dad, but why don't I have grandparents with you, mom, or whatever? And I would just, in the most age-appropriate manner I could, I would say, or why does granddad live in prison? What is that? What is he doing there? And awesome. Yay. Thanks, Dad. It's always, we have a hashtag. Thanks, Dad. Because so many things. You have no idea just what comes up where we're like, oh, fuck. Thanks, Dad. So I explained that my dad had done something very terrible and that he had gone to prison as a result. And that then if Isaac ever asked about my mom, I would say she died before you were born. And someday I'll tell you more about that. And so he knows now what happened. He's clear on it, and he knows and forgets. He's a 13-year-old boy, after all. Knows and forgets why his granddad's not in his life. And, the fact that, he does have a granddad who is still alive and mom doesn't talk to him. And I just reminded him of that the other day, actually. It came up, and he was like, yeah, I kind of forget about that. I'm like, I know. But again, all of this is about granddad. This is about dad. And I got to tell you, Dana, it is the hardest thing, one of the hardest things in my life to know how to talk about mom to my child because it is so loaded. And it is hard to talk about her without entering into what happened to her. And always until the end of time. Those things are connected, right?
Yes.
And I have friends who lost a parent or a mom in a, I guess, sort of more normal way. And they have their own grief, and their grief is very real, but there's not the extra weight of what happened to her. And so then I'm watching these friends, and they're like, we looked at pictures of my mom today, of the kid's grandmother, and we talked about her and how amazing she was. And I just get paralyzed, and I don't know how to do that. And I feel like I'm basically doing the worst job ever of introducing my son to his awesome grandmother. He knows nothing about her. And I'm just being really honest with you right now. I think he knows very little about her. And I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to start. I don't know. And I've talked about it in therapy. Right?
Have you talked to other people who have gone through this? Anybody else who's lost a mom this way?
No, that's a good question.
Yeah.
No, I haven't. I don't know anyone.
Yeah, I wonder if there's a support group or a way to...
Maybe, yeah.
And I wonder if there's things that they're doing, I don't know, and how they move through and talk to their children. I don't know. But what is the fear? What is the fear that he's going to ask you how she died?
No, because he knows.
You can't know. Okay. So then just saying how beautiful she was or showing the pictures, or you mean it's too hard for you to see them? Because I think out of context, he's not going to go, oh, was this right before she was
Right.
He's going to go, what did she do? Or like, she looks pretty there.
Mom,
or you guys look like you're having fun. Yeah.
That's you, Mom? You're 9 years old or whatever.
Yeah, that's you as a little baby. Or talking about her missionary work or her humor, her joy of love of technology. I just wonder, what is the fear? Is it your fear of what's going to come up for you?
I think for me, it might be. I think it still feels really heavy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For you, what is it?
Anger.
Yeah.
I have more anger now than I did in the past.
Yeah, actually you do.
I didn't get kids of my own until I was 46. I got kids, and I got a solid human of a wife who fucking loves and accepts me where I'm at, knows where I came from, knows where I am.
But now the anger comes up.
It's almost gets harder for me to talk about because it just... I know what it is.
What is it?
Fact he's still alive.
Yeah. Yeah. So Dad is now 88 and he just keeps going. He's like the Energizer Bunny, right?
But we know from the Digby side that Mom could have lived into her 80s.
We have longevity on both sides. Mom's parents were both 93, 94 when they passed away, and they were very active.
My grandma's 95.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. It's that.
Yes.
It's
you're
that.
like, yes, genes. Yes.
Right. Yes, genes.
So and she could have had a longer life.
She could still be here, active, and traveling to visit. Traveling to Nashville to visit me, traveling to California to visit Billy and his new family. So supremely unfair and unjust.
It would have been so awesome.
Yeah, she would have been a really great grandma. Yeah.
She would have been the first one I called. Guess who I just met?
Yeah.
You know?
When that urge
Guess who
comes
I
up, what do you do? Because a lot of people talk about that urge to call their mom or their,
Yeah.
what do you do when that, and sometimes it comes up for people 20 years later and they're like, that's weird. She's been gone a long time. Why did it come up again right now? Yeah. So what do you do when that urge comes?
And prior to that, I'd love to say to whoever's listening, like if you go through this and if you experience a death of a parent that you had a good relationship with, it's just going to hit you random.
Yeah.
A smell.
Oh my gosh.
And you have to just go through it.
You have to just
go through
get in there
Mm-hmm.
and do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And just the best thing I can say is just appreciate them for who they were in that moment and recognize that was a niceness that existed. So that's all that I can do.
I just talk to her. I just tell her stuff sometimes. Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah.
Out loud? Out loud?
Yeah, in the car usually is when I do things like that. Yeah. Yeah. I was going to say, Billy, that it just sort of hit me as you were talking. You were talking about you having the life that you do now.
Yeah.
And knowing yourself at this time and being supported and loved by Steph, a woman who just accepts you for exactly who you are, and now getting these kiddos and getting that chance. And then I thought about me and that I think her legacy, Billy, is us. I think it's us. And I think it's you finding your way and being loved and known. And it's me leaving a marriage that wasn't good for me at the end of the day after doing my diligence, putting in so much hard work for years and years, and then reaching a point where I could hear her saying, "It's okay. I stayed. That didn't work. You should go. You should go."
Yeah. Yep.
And me knowing that I'm not disappointing her by leaving my marriage and getting a divorce and moving into a new phase of my life. I'm living fully. And that's what I wish that she'd had the chance to do.
To see, yeah.
I wish that she'd A, been able to see us do these things, but B, I wish that she had the freedom and the permission to get out of the marriage if she'd wanted to. Obviously, I wouldn't be here if that had been the case. Yeah. So obviously, I'm glad I'm here, but I know that she stuck around in something that ultimately, I think it killed her spirit a long time before it killed her body.
It did.
I'm going to take a deep breath because you're just both unbelievable. I always end these interviews and I ask the guests to tell me their mom's name and how they're feeling about her in this moment today, like what's coming up for you. But I actually think today, in talking to you both, I'd like to know your mom's full name, but I'd like to know if you would tell me something about her that you think should be known that we haven't said. Because you said my mom's greatest desire and the thing that I wish she got the most was to be known. And so that's what I'd love. You can both say her name in tandem. No, someone can take the front of the name and you can take the back end, or you can both say it. Say her name in your voice. I'd love to hear it. And something that you want us to know about Helen. And maybe what's coming up for you today if you want to throw it in.
Okay, Billy, you want to go? Are you thinking?
What?
Are you thinking?
I was waiting on you.
Do you need me to go first? Or are we doing this together? You ready? 1, 2, 3. Helen. This is terrible. Are we even related? Okay.
1, 2, 3.
Helen Alice Digby
Digby.
O'Neill was mom's name.
Okay, O'Neill. Yes.
I mean, she changed her name.
Yeah,
Billy.
that's true. Helen Alice Digby.
Helen Alice Digby. And oh my gosh, something I want people to know about her is she loved a funny movie. So she had the best laugh, like a cackling laugh that would bust out of nowhere and totally take you by surprise. It was her like letting go. And I remember hearing about her when she went to the movie theater and saw the original Pink Panther movie with Peter Sellers.
Wow.
And she almost wet her pants laughing,
Laughing so hard.
Yes, she was just in a whole dither about how hard she was laughing, and she nearly peed herself. And
did your mom's laugh make you laugh sometimes?
Oh, yeah.
'Cause-
Yeah.
My mom did that too. Yeah.
It's not, I wish I could do it. I can hear it. She had a little delighted laugh if she got tickled by something really briefly, and it was like a that kind of thing. Actually, that might have been her. I did it, and it sounded like her. Oh, that's really weird.
Chills.
That's you. Told ya.
Oh, that's weird. Okay. That was really fun. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, so she had a special laugh when she got really tickled. She'd get really tickled by stuff. Okay, Billy, your turn.
Oh boy. Ev, you hit on a thing.
What's that?
She got eclipsed a lot.
Yeah.
It's weird how humans work, but when someone doesn't speak up a lot, then we just make a lot of assumptions. And I don't think people understood or realized how much mom took to heart about a lot of things and about the people around her. And I think that one of the ways that she was able to express that was through teaching. And unfortunately, most of the people that got to see her in her, what I believe her element to be, were her students. And that was most evident to me for the funeral. How many parents absolutely were mournful about her death because she left a mark on her students. And fortunately, we're her kids, and she left her mark on us. Again, Ev and I are different. Could not consider mom as my confidant for nearly every year because we were built that way. But with Dad, I wanted to stay out of trouble. With Mom, I wanted to make her proud.
Oh my gosh. That just says a lot to me.
That's it.
Yeah. And I think she'd be really proud of us making the choices for ourselves that she wasn't free to make.
Yeah.
We've chosen different paths. I think that any of us would have thought, but for me, particularly, it is my decisions that I've made over the last few years and the choices that I've taken have been a direct result of not wanting to repeat the past and not of going, I've seen that and that didn't work.
Yep.
We're going to try something new. I'm going to give myself permission to live the life that I need to live and to get mental health support, to give myself new tools with which to approach my relationships and my work and my child, to ask for help when I needed it. And no secrets. No secrets, y'all.
There is something about the human condition where we are fascinated by the morbid, by things or events that seem almost otherworldly. And the truth is that when Billy told me how his mother died on that rooftop in 2007, I asked a lot of questions about his dad. A lot. I asked about how it happened, about his dad's life in prison, and how Billy's essentially coping with losing two parents. I'm sure I asked about his mother at some point, of course, but what did I ask? How much did I want to know about her? Her likes and dislikes, her laugh, her joy, her personality, her favorite music? I'm sure I didn't. I mean, I was in shock, as many people are when they hear something so utterly devastating and violent happening to another human being. And I could only focus on the act itself, the ending of her life. It's not lost on me that this is also sort of how I viewed my mom's final years and death. And I'm not comparing their deaths. I hope you know that. but I was fixated on my mom's intense physical decline and change in her body for years. How her stomach became distended, her throat became thick, her face widening over the years, and her body becoming bedridden. How she couldn't dress herself and at times couldn't make it to the bathroom. My mom couldn't even stand on her own. She was dealing with so much pain and her body was shutting down completely. And the vodka and wine, even if watered down, did not help. And I knew she was going to die alone. And every time I came to visit, the sight of her decline was shocking, almost to the point of tears. I remember one of my last visits, I walked into her bedroom and I covered my mouth right in front of her. I covered my mouth and I gasped when I walked into her room because she was almost unrecognizable. It was difficult to see her and gross at times and uncomfortable and scary. Yeah, I felt really scared looking at my mom. That is the truth. The shock and trauma of watching my mom slowly die was morbid to me. It is hard to erase some of those images in my mind, and there is one photo from the last time she was in the hospital that I can't even erase from my phone, even though I should. And sometimes it pops up if I scroll back far enough, but I don't go back and look at it, ever. And now, because of this show and this podcast and the work I'm doing, I look at beautiful photos of my mother from her teen years, photos of her looking gorgeous at black tie galas with my dad, photos of her teaching and commanding a room, photos of us in Hawaii drinking smoothies, photos of her with my Nana on her wedding day. I let her horrific illness and death eclipse all my good memories, all my good mental images in my mind for so long. I looked up the definition of eclipse when I was reflecting on this episode. An eclipse is an obscuring of the light from one celestial body by the passage of another between it. It's a loss of significance. I don't want the dark edges of my memory to always flash images of my mother's death to me. Now more than ever, I want to talk about what made her so extraordinary. Our mother's celestial bodies deserve to be seen in full bright light in all their glory. I like to think that Helen and Joe Black are riding in that 65 Mustang with white leather interior through France with their shiny blonde hair blowing in the breeze, talking about nerdy math and science stuff and cackling. No men, no eclipsing, just pure light. The second season of I Swear on My Mother's Grave podcast would never be possible without our editor, Amanda Roscoe-Mayo, our music composer, Adam Ollendorf, our graphic designer and illustrator, Meredith Montgomery, and our copywriter, Rachel Claff. Thanks as well to Tony Howell and Austin Heller for all their work on the website, and to Heather Bodie for her emotional, spiritual, social, and physical, for all the help. Thank you. And to all of you, thank you for listening, subscribing, reaching out, and just being a part of this community. I'm so grateful you're here. And if you haven't signed up for our newsletter, you can do so at our website, which is danablack.org. You can hear all about this incredible season and some upcoming live events we're curating just for you. I hope you'll come back. Come back, come back. Don't leave me like my dead mom. You know what I mean? Come back. Talk to you soon. Oh, I was going to ask, how does it feel, real quick, like doing this
Yeah.
with your sibling? Does it feel good? Does it feel nervous? Do you feel nervous? Do you feel
Yes.
excited? Do you feel tension? I don't sense
No
any tension,
tension,
but
no
tell me how you
nerves.
feel. Yeah.
How do you feel, Billy?
Yeah.
P.S. You
good.
feel great, don't you? Do you feel great?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
You love me, right? Yeah.
Yeah.